morphine. They had some fentanyl. They gave me oxycodone, and none of it was taking my pain away. Oh yeah, my parents threw me in rehab at 14. There's going to be the days where you want to quit and it feels like too much.
Hello, my fellow Martians. My name is Harry Mars, and this is the On Mars Pod, where we take a deep dive into creative professionals, entrepreneurs, and other inspiring Martians alike. Today, we are joined by Alex DeGroote, an award-winning hash maker out of Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh, fentanyl couldn't do that for you, but weed could? Jeez. So it was massive cannabis owner-driven law. Oh, for sure. I'll talk about weed all day long. You'll miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Hello, my fellow Martians. Today on Mars, we are joined by an award-winning hash maker, a cannabis industry veteran, and a business owner out here in Arizona. Everybody welcome Alex DeGroote. Thank you for being here, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, Harry.
Of course, man. So on Mars, we profile creative professionals, entrepreneurs, and other inspiring Martians alike. So that's why I wanted to have you on, man. So I really appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Yeah, definitely.
So to kind of get started, I want to start kind of the early before getting into the cannabis industry, because you own a cannabis company out here. A cannabis oil company, couple. And before you got into cannabis, did you have any other passions growing up, like in the arts, or were you into I know you were probably into cars.
Yes, cars.
Was that your main passion before you got into cannabis?
I was super passionate about sports, so I played, soccer for 9 years, football, baseball, lacrosse, basketball, kind of like you name it, I've played it.
Okay.
For any given point of time. And I ended up dropping out of high school freshman year, so that went out the window. Always loved cars, so I ended up going to a trade school, getting my what's it called? Shit, I can't remember what it's called. It's been way too long, but I was certified mechanic.
Okay, yeah.
I worked at a shop for a year and a half, 2 years, something like that, and it was great. But I ended up breaking my hip. I have scoliosis, so like standing all day looking up with my hands above my head for 12 hours is just not gonna be something I could sustain. So had to move past that, and cannabis has been in my life since I was 14. So
it was always part of your life. It just wasn't, you weren't producing it or trying to make a company out of it, not necessarily until later on.
No, I didn't even realize that was a possibility until I was like 18.
Oh, wow.
Because I wasn't like into like mainstream cannabis, like I thought searching anything related to cannabis on the internet was going to get me flagged or something,
for sure.
It was Arizona, bro. Like,
yeah,
it's illegal as fuck here. We had a whole ass tank dedicated to the war on drugs, shout out Sheriff Joe Arpaio.
Yeah.
He was very heavy on going after marijuana and harmless crimes,
Right.
So.
And where did you grow up in Arizona?
Kind of all over. Mesa and Chandler were like the main length.
Okay, so still a Phoenix metro area.
Yeah.
Okay.
All in Maricopa County.
Nice. That's what's up, man. So growing up in this, like, how did because when did it go medicinal out here?
2010.
2010.
It got voted in. We didn't get our first dispensary, I think, until like 2012.
2012. Did you get your medical license right away?
No, I didn't get my medical card until I got pulled over and in trouble for weed. I was
classic.
A few days after my 18th birthday. My parents were super against weed, so like having my parents sign off on an underage med card just was not in the cards for me. So it was all black market,
Yeah.
Started with the, brick weed from Mexico,
classic.
Moving to, like Kushes and stuff like that, Chronics.
And they were just calling it that.
I mean, no, we were smoking good weed at that point.
Cool.
For sure. It wasn't like, they were probably just calling it chronic, but like it was
good though.
It was good.
Yeah. Man, so that was early on. So What year was that? What like what, around that time?
So I was 14 in 2010.
Oh, so
So
right when it legalized. That's what's up.
yeah,
Perfect timing.
right when I went medical, but obviously I wasn't medical. It was just when I started smoking in high school.
Yeah.
And then I got my med card when I turned 18, like a week after, because I got pulled over the day before I got my med card. It was bullshit. So mad. I was on task for like 2 years, and it was terrible.
Fuck,
They
dude.
took so much money from me. It was
And
bullshit.
task. That's like an acronym, right?
Yeah, I don't know what it stands for, but
Yeah.
it's a drug testing for diversion instead of going to jail.
Yeah. It's some bitch shit.
Yeah, pretty much. I got caught with, it was like less than a gram of wax and a
Oh.
nectar collector.
Oh damn, a nectar collector.
Yeah, it was
That
a
shit
nectar
looks
collector.
crazy
Yeah,
too.
like way back when, y'all. And they charged me with a narcotic dangerous drug because it's an altered substance. It's not. It's the original form of cannabis. It's an extract. So
Yeah.
they classify it as a narcotic, unfortunately. So
Damn, dude.
yeah, instead of like the 6 months of task that I would have gotten if I had just had weed on me, I ended up getting a year, and then they ended up tacking on something for some reason. They had like a switch in like the rules right when I started. So they ended up having a class that I ended up having to take after I started it already that wasn't involved at the beginning. So it ended up adding like another 6 or 12 months to the whole bullshit that I had to keep paying to.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah, it was whack.
Yeah, Arizona is just they're a zero tolerance state for anyone that doesn't know. So they're not
Weed or alcohol.
Yeah,
They're gonna come
exactly.
after you.
Exactly, man. So it's kind of interesting that you said like your parents were against it because now you're
my parents threw me in rehab at 14
Oh wow.
for weed.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Because they caught you?
I mean, they never really caught me. I was pretty open about like what I did.
Oh,
you know?
okay.
I
So
wasn't like
you-
a secretive kid.
Okay.
My parents couldn't really control me. I was kind of an asshole kid too, so I was more rebellious than anything about like honesty with that.
Oh man. So what do they think now though? Now that you're actually making money off of it, and like, are they supportive?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, my mom's still skeptical. She grew up in Alabama. So
yeah.
the
That's a
Bible Belt
different-
and
yeah.
that whole situation, like devil's lettuce. She like that was her life. My mom will drink, but she doesn't like drink to get fucked up or nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Very casual.
Yeah, she still to this day refuses to smoke, but she'll be around me when I'm smoking and
That's
all
cool.
that stuff. She has no issue with it. She'll be like, "Is that too much? What are you doing? Why are you smoking again?"
Worried.
Yeah, she just doesn't understand the entirety of it all.
Yeah, for sure.
My dad was the same way. They both refused to smoke it. When I broke my hip, I was given like morphine. They had some fentanyl they gave me. They gave me fucking oxycodone, and none of it was taking my pain away.
Jesus.
I was sitting there in the hospital bed for 2 days before they can even give me a surgery. So I had a broken hip, shit ton of pain, and like I'm sitting there, I'm like, I need cannabis. Someone give me some weed, something, a vape pen, an edible, whatever. What was it? I think Olga
Okay.
from the Good Dispensary ended up bringing me some vape pens that they gave me, and I took a hit and immediately was fine. My dad was like, whoa,
That's when he saw.
I just watched this happen.
Yeah.
So that changed his mind on the whole weed thing for sure. So he even uses it now. It's weird.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah, it
That's
like
cool.
completely motivated him.
Good. It opened his mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like it starts with like a closed mind when you
Mhm.
have that like, stigma of like, oh, you can't do, like, you shouldn't do this. You like, you shouldn't smoke or whatever.
Yeah.
That's all like closed mind activities. So it's like when he saw that it affected you in that positive way,
Yeah.
that was like a way for him to open his mind to it and be like open to trying it himself.
Exactly. No,
That's
it's
sick.
like, oh, fentanyl couldn't do that for you, but weed could.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's
So-
insane. Yeah, man, fucking I want to talk about the car accident. That was what broke your hip, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yes.
got in a car wreck. There was a bus stopped on the street. I was behind it was a 3-lane street. My neighborhood was on the right, like half a mile past where I crashed.
Okay.
So I was getting over from the middle lane, was behind a big box truck, so I couldn't see what was ahead in the lane to the right. So when I got over, it was like immediately bus that was stopped. So that stopped me.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah,
dude.
45-0 like that. So
Oh my God, dude.
thankfully,
Yeah.
for the most part, the only injuries I really had was my hip.
Yeah.
It was broken, blew out the back lip.
Yeah.
So I got 5 screws and a plate. The screws run the entire length of my pelvis.
And
and
you
then-
still have those.
Oh yeah, I'm not getting them out. So they're meant to stay.
Man, well, I mean, I'm glad that you're able to even walk.
Same. Yeah,
That's like-
that would have been shitty.
That's a paralyzing car accident.
Oh,
for
for sure.
So
Yeah.
that's like you had something watching over you for sure.
I'm lucky I didn't die.
Yeah, man. Shoot, man. Well, I mean, that's like the power of cannabis right there when you're like in immense pain like that, where it can literally change everything in just one hit.
Yeah.
That's insane, man.
No, it was crazy because I've never even I've smoked cannabis my whole life, but I've got scoliosis. It helps alleviate pain, but it's never removed pain like
Totally.
that. Like to go from immense pain to nothing, it was just crazy to me too.
Yeah.
Even being a user.
So you started a company called Pack Gods,
Mhm.
and it was when you were growing in Oregon. Is that right? Or did you start it before you went to Oregon?
No, I started it when I got back from Oregon. It was something that me and my buddy Keetran talked about for years, and it was a clothing company that we wanted to turn into like entertainment and counterculture and stuff like that.
Okay.
It just didn't end up working out, but yeah, that was a clothing company that started with my buddy when we got back from Oregon.
Okay. So he was
Yeah.
out there in Oregon with you?
Yeah, he ended up moving back to Arizona from Michigan to move out there with me.
Nice.
It was like a 2-step process that took forever with that, but yeah, it was cool. Like we both just kind of chased that dream.
Okay.
Yeah, it was cool.
So when you were growing in Oregon, that was just kind of like as a separate company. Did you have a company name for that, or did you just kind of do it as
So I grew for someone else. So
okay.
yeah,
I see.
I turned 21 on my 21st birthday. I had my U-Haul packed, drove straight to Oregon. My girlfriend at the time, she had moved to Oregon like 3 months prior, found all of us jobs at this grow dispensary kind of situation. Me and her ended up managing the 2 dispensaries that this dude owned. And then I was one of 3 growers at an 1.5 acre indoor outdoor greenhouse kind of situation. So we had like 400 like big mothers and like 50-gallon pots, excuse me, that were all outside. Instead of killing them, we were like, oh, fuck it, let's just flower them out. They're big. Why not see what we can get? And then we had 5 greenhouses that I was a part of building that had 7,500 plants that we cared for. And that was full term, full season. So it went from spring till like end of October is when we ended up harvesting, just because the weather didn't get super wet. There was fires, so we lost a little bit of sun. So we wanted to let them go a little bit longer while we could. What else? And then we had a 5,000 square foot barn down the hill that we had all of our like veg plants in that we were prepping for the next season. And then an 8-car garage that was like our nursery where we were doing all of our cuts, cloning, stuff like that.
So that whole process, it's obviously pretty in depth. Did you already have the knowledge at the level that?
Fuck no.
So you were learning on the job.
I was learning on the job. Yeah,
That's what's up.
I got paid $11 an hour at 21 to break my fucking back, but it was well worth it because it gave me the experience and the knowledge needed to kind of elevate my career and go where I wanted it to go.
Yeah, that exactly. And I was going to touch on that, where it's just like the trade-off being that like you're getting all this experience, so that way so much more on the back end of the flower itself that now you can translate straight into your own company out here.
Yeah, I grew under one of the most respected growers out in Oregon at the time. It was a dude that ran Da Vinci's Garden. If you're from Oregon, you probably have heard of him on the medical market at some point in time. So it was well worth the trade-off.
Yeah, man. So when you were in Oregon, were they dabbling in oils and extracts?
Oh, absolutely, bro. Oregon's
I mean,
5 years, 10 years ahead.
That was Colorado, Oregon, and Washington.
Yep.
Were they all legal at the time?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they went recreational first.
When I moved out to Oregon, it was, I think, 2017 or 2018.
Yeah.
Somewhere around that time frame. And it was the last year that they had like free market. So you could just pay $2,500 and get a license.
Wow.
Yeah. So Oregon got flooded. If you've paid attention to their market at all, they ended up going down to like $5 eighths and stuff. Like
because of the
it was
amount
just
of people.
Abundance of weed.
Like, I don't know what to do with this.
Yeah, they couldn't sell it all. It was all going stale. It was all getting dry. Like, so they were just essentially trapping out for free.
Yo,
it was unfortunate.
Did
a lot
you
of
ever...
people lost their livelihood that year.
God damn, dude.
Yeah.
No, that's sad because when they go over there in hopes to create like a successful business.
Exactly.
And then
Oregon's a small state, dude. Like,
yeah,
they had fucking something like 4,000 grows, and like I think there's like 4 million people in Oregon or something. Like, there's no one in Oregon. It's a small state. So who's smoking all that fucking weed? You know, you got Cali below, who's already like the black mark leaguer.
Yeah.
You know, so there's an abundance of weed down there. Washington's legal. And then you got Idaho, I guess. Like, who's in Idaho? Who's in fucking where's right there? Mississippi? No, Missouri?
No.
Montana.
Yeah.
The other M.
Geography.
You got Montana and you got fucking Idaho, and there's no one there. It's all farmland. So
potatoes.
Who's smoking all that weed? You know what I mean? So
for sure.
Yeah, a lot of people lost their livelihoods. They spent, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars, depending on how big their operation was, to shit the bed, essentially.
Yeah, just throw it all down the tubes.
Yeah,
man.
it's shitty.
Start over. Yeah. This is I guess kind of a funny analogy, but I guess not appropriate. Did you ever watch SpongeBob with the pretty patties, bro? Did you ever see that episode?
Probably. I think I've seen them all.
There's an episode where SpongeBob makes these colored Krabby Patties, and it's like multicolored Krabby Patties, and people just start buying them from him directly because he starts selling them in front of his house.
Okay.
And he has like a line that goes like all the way through the city to the Krusty Krab, basically. And then there's like a news reporter at SpongeBob's house, and it's like, so like, what do you like make of all this? Like, da 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 da. Like, he's like, well, at first, like we didn't know what to do with like all the money that we're making, so we started burying it, burning it. Then we just started giving it away.
And how can you not make money with such a brilliant idea?
At first, we didn't know what to do with all the money. We tried burying it, shredding it, and burning it. But in the end, we decided to just give it all away.
Come again, sir. I'm getting back in line.
It's like, that's like the weed. It's like, just started.
Yeah, pretty much, man. I've definitely burned a few plants. It is what it is, man. It is what it is.
You gotta take the L sometimes, man.
Yes, sir.
So Oregon was into oils. So is that how you learned how to make oils, or did you just see?
I learned oils, I think, back like 2012, 2013, when we were all smoking, fucking black tar, fucking shatter.
Ooh.
Yeah, like gross ass.
Red hot nails.
Yeah, red hot Thai nails. If it wasn't red hot, you weren't smoking correctly. And you were actually incorrectly smoking. It was all bad.
For the record, yeah, you were incorrectly smoking. You were burning your capillaries in your lungs.
Yeah, you were fucking yourself up more than anything. So, no, back then we were smoking that, and then that was like my introduction to oils was like shatter.
Okay.
But to the solventless realm back in 2012, 2013, we took some flower rosin tech from California. Some guys started taking their girlfriend's fucking hair straightener, and we were smashing full nugs in between the two, heat plates on the hair straighteners and making rosin. And that was way better than black shatter.
Dude,
so that was like a huge wake up to like what you could really do with really good stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what started my introduction to solventless. I ended up, when I moved back from Oregon, I bought 2 presses when I was working at the Good Dispensary.
Mm-hmm.
And I I just started going around trying to find the best weed in Arizona. I was buying from TrueMed and Ponderosa and that was like the main two people I was getting weed from at the time. They were really good. Small batch boutique, super fire genetics, good cures on them, so it didn't like smell like hay, it didn't taste like shit. And started squishing that and just playing around. I went from smoking shatter to smoking that almost exclusively, and that was cool. I did that for like 2 or 3 years, and then like freeze dryers became a thing. And people started using that to dry their hash. Before, you would have to have like a fucking 300 square foot room with a bunch of racks if you wanted to do anything like on a semi-large level, and you were coating the racks with fucking like pizza boxes, and then you were drying the hash on the pizza boxes, and it's not sanitary or anything like that. So when people stopped doing that, the freeze dryers came along. I got into doing like solventless hash rosin and ice water hash and stuff like that via the freeze dryer.
This was before you officially started the company, though. This was when you were kind of just dabbling.
No, I went straight from flower rosin to hash rosin when I started the company.
So Solventless Refinery started back in like 2014.
I guess the concept of it.
I mean, well, you started making hash rosin.
I made flower rosin.
Flower rosin.
Yeah, or squish and nugs.
Yeah, so squish and nugs, because I remember when that happened, when that started to like come out, because I was I never really dabbled in dabs, you know what I mean, early on, but when I moved out here, it was 2014, and then when I went back home for like the first or second time, I met up with a couple homies, and they were all on the wax, and Michigan. They were already
Michigan goes
ahead.
Crazy nowadays.
They were ahead of the curve back then. And like I was not in the scene, so they were like really showing me some shit when I went out there. And I remember I was just like, damn, like this is kind of crazy. And then I remember like, the red hot nails and like people going crazy with it, and that, the bangers and the nails and all that stuff. And but then I remember one time I had a homie that I went over to his house, and he was like, I started doing this thing where I use my mom's hair straightener and wax paper, and I just like squeeze the nugs, and then you could just kind of like use a little razor blade and scrape off the edges or whatever. And I was like, dude, what?
Yeah.
And then
I feel like that was the first like string of independence for a cannabis user.
For sure.
Like you weren't growing your own flower, but now you could make your own oil.
Yeah, it was like you would
huge
get
step. That's
so
cool.
little though for like
yeah.
I remember that was like
that's just normal for
part.
wax in general.
Yeah,
usually I think like a good yield return, we're getting like 3%.
Oh wow,
on a total yield. So think about that and let that sit for a second.
Yeah, well, let's kind of put some numbers to that. So like to get 1 gram,
it's usually about an eighth if you're doing like a BHO extraction on general basis. Yeah.
Okay. So BHO, butane hash oil. Okay. And BHO, I feel like that was a term that was thrown around in those early shatter kind of crappy wax days.
Yeah.
Is that because they were doing it wrong? And is that why it was crappy?
No,
because
it was just shitty weed. Everyone was scared to take their good weed and make anything with it. There was a few companies that were doing Nug Run. If you remember Nug Run, that was like a huge craze for a little bit.
Yeah.
It was because people stopped blasting trim from last year's harvest.
Right.
And they started blasting fresh stuff full Nug.
And when you say blasting, that's like running it through the butane hash oil process.
Doing the solvent-based extraction.
Solvent-based extractions.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily that they were doing the process wrong. It's just the product that they started with was bad.
Yeah, fire in, fire out. That's like the main saying that people need to engrill in their heads. It's if it's not good to start, it's not going to be good at the end.
Yeah,
it just is the truth to it. There's people that are polishing turds and make it look good, but you smoke it and it's not good. It doesn't taste good. It doesn't feel good. The high's different. It might give you a headache. They remove stuff to make it look good, so they're polishing a turd instead of, hey, let's just, start the right way from the get-go.
Yeah, for sure. And it's interesting because people don't know, because of the fact that it's going through all this process, the solvent like refining like the solvent extraction process. They don't know that like what kind of flower went into it. They don't know how old it is. They don't know if it's moldy or not. They don't know anything about this flower.
And that's a huge thing with butane too, is people were like taking their failed harvest. They might be running nugs, but it was coated in mold. And you can take moldy product in a solvent-based extraction and you can remove all of that contamination and you're left with just the oil. But it's still like, do you want to be smoking something that was remediated? Like, do you want to eat food that was processed, or do you want to eat food that's not processed? You know, which one are you going to?
Yeah, for sure.
It's the same kind of concept on a different level.
Yeah. And I think the people that were smoking, you know, like shitty, like concentrates like that, they didn't really care. They were probably just more so like the money. You know what I'm saying? If it was $10 a gram, give me it. You know what I mean? Like, I remember when we were both working at the Good Dispensary, and there was like sometimes grams of I don't want to say their name, but there was grams that would go for like $15 a gram for shatter, and it was just like, I always thought that was so like.
No, they were as cheap as like $5 at some days, bro. Like, it was insane. I don't know.
Jesus Christ.
And I actually know the owner of the company I know who you're referring to. And if you look at their numbers, bro, they lose like 25 cents a gram. Like, they're not making money. It doesn't make any fucking sense. But because they're publicly funded, you know, they're on the stock market, they can kind of skew the people's vision and go, oh, look at all the numbers we're doing. Don't pay attention to the stuff we're losing.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy, bro. Cannabis is a fucking just go, doesn't matter, kind of like who you fuck over, what you do kind of thing. It's shitty.
Wild West out here, bro.
Absolutely.
Jesus Christ. No, that's sad, man, because I feel like nowadays people like are a lot more health conscious. I feel like just not necessarily
try to be. Yeah.
Well, yeah, like not necessarily just in cannabis, but like in the world. I feel like in general, generally speaking, nowadays people
abundance of information.
Yeah, exactly. So people know what's good for them. They know how to take care of themselves better. They know what not to eat. They know what to try to like incorporate into their diet. They're drinking more water, you know, things like that. Yep. So it's just like when it comes to like smoking, inhaling things. Yeah. You should have that same type of, you know, like, I guess, restriction on yourself. Like you shouldn't let yourself smoke bad shit. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, if you really want to put it in perspective, cannabis has more strict testing than any food you consume.
Wow.
Like, cannabis is super duper regulated, like obviously on the legal market, not the black market.
Right.
So keep that in mind. You know, the black market, no one's doing testing. If they are, who knows if it's even actually test results that like match the product you get.
Yeah.
It's a guess game. When you're legal, everything's tracked seed to sale, so they can match a number to a batch. And
it's all public information too, or is it private?
Arizona is forcing it to be public information, I think by November.
Okay.
They put in a rule, AZDHS just released a rule where they're going to be forcing us to have, I'm okay with it. Like, I'm not saying they're forcing me or anything.
Right.
Don't take it like that. I'm just how I'm talking, but
totally. It's just required by companies.
It's required.
Yeah.
Instead of optional.
Yeah.
You know, I post all my test results on my packaging, and, you know, I'll share my test results on my story on a regular basis. Like, I'm super transparent with what we do in our lab. But yeah. So they're going to force us to essentially have all of the test results on the packaging with the QR code that leads back to a website where you can view all of our test results. And I think it's like we have to have that for a year worth of information.
Okay.
Test results from that date forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think that's a great thing.
No, it's wonderful.
Sure.
I think that the transparency, Arizona has been super non-transparent. Like, we didn't even have a testing law until like 3 or 4 years ago or whatever it was. So that's even a new thing, you know?
Yeah.
It's just been kind of do whatever you want. And Arizona, you can't lose your license. You can get fined, and the max they can fine you is 20 grand. So if you do something that's detrimental at like $100,000 scale, well, you only have to pay a $20,000 fine.
Wow.
So Arizona's crazy, man. They're like, oh, you know, those numbers make sense for me. Whatever, we'll pay the fucking fine. Keep doing what we're doing. So they can't take your license away.
You know, that's interesting. It's like, and something I want to talk about, like kind of bring back to the point where how you're so transparent with your numbers. I feel like the people that aren't are the ones that you need to be, you know, kind of skeptical about, that don't want to share their test results.
Well, even then there's people, like, I've caught companies, and I know people that have caught companies where they're sharing test results that weren't real. So if you're looking at a test result, there's a QR code on that test result that'll link you to a Confident Cannabis, or there's another program that all of the test results for whatever lab you're going through
Mm-hmm.
is like posted. So you can scan that QR code. It'll take you to the entire spread of the test results, and you can view those test results via third party, not via whatever company sharing it to you.
Right.
And you can view the real ones. Sometimes people will Photoshop the numbers on their stuff, but they'll leave the QR code, and you can catch people lying about test results that way.
That's very illegal.
Oh, it's illegal as shit. But again, if I only have to pay a $20,000 fine, but I make $1 million, is it worth it?
Right.
And that's kind of the shitty mentality that a lot of these multi-state operators are coming with.
Yeah.
It's like, the fine's worth the squeeze.
For sure. And I mean, to kind of talk about the Arizona cannabis industry and how it is so wild, like it set a record in the United States. Arizona recreationally legalized in November of 2020, and then the first sale recreationally was in January of 2021, marking it like the fastest from legalization to like actual incorporation into like the recreational market in history.
Yeah. No, it was wild. It was lobbied super heavily by Curaleaf, Copper State, which is also Soulflower, and Curaleaf and Harvest.
So they were working on it so that way when it does get pushed, it's like as soon as we can. Like they
wrote the law.
Oh,
so at the time, the owner of Harvest, what's his name, Steve White, he put like, I think it was $2 or $8 million, somewhere in that range, into lobbying just for the laws. He also put together the committee that wrote the laws. Jesus. He also paid for the PR companies that pushed the laws. So it was a massive cannabis owner-driven law.
Yeah,
that was written in their favor so that they could monopolize the licenses in Arizona.
Right.
They can control what they have to do. You know, who's telling them what to do because they wrote the law.
Right.
You know, they're going to leave stuff out that you shouldn't leave out, you know, obviously just to benefit them. So, yeah, Arizona was super wild with going rec. I voted no. I petitioned people to vote no.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't a law that was for the people. You get more protection as a medical card holder than you do as a recreational holder. A lot of the law that was written leaves a lot of gray area for like home growers. You're only allowed to possess an ounce of flower. There's nowhere in the law that it says, you know, if you grow this, you can keep your entire harvest. You know, you can grow 12 plants. If I can get fucking, you know, 4 or 5 pounds off 12 plants,
right?
You know, so it's
that is interesting.
Yeah, it wasn't written in the people's favor. It was written in the dispensary's favor. Yeah, unfortunately,
I remember because that was Prop 207, and that was it was being sold as legalized weed. Like that's what it was being sold as.
Legalized weed, get people out of jail.
Yeah, and it was like when you actually
grow your own plants.
Because at the time, I was still working at the Good Dispensary at that point, and so it was a very heavy topic because there was a lot of research. And you remember Jeremy? Mm-hmm. He was always one to like learn everything and always research. So he was one that was like, "Fuck that law, that shit sucks."
It was 16 pages. Like you can go look it up right now.
We would read it. We would read it.
It was
like
absolutely
in
bullshit.
The store. We would read it like and like start like looking at things like, "Oh my god, like what the."
Yeah.
Like we were actually like kind of surprised at some of the things that were in that proposition.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it was marketed in a way where people voted for it without knowing what they were really voting for.
Yeah,
and I think
you
that's
can
the
look
problem.
up all the money that Curaleaf, Harvest, and Copper State spent getting that bill lobbied.
Yeah,
it's insane. Like it's 10 million plus.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a game for them, and in a way, would you say that I guess like how did when it went recreational so fast because of these guys that came in and, you know, tried to make this happen so fast, how did that change the industry? Like, you know, the industry,
it was a quantity squeeze. No one had the product to supply the demand. Prices rose. There was dispensaries such as Harvest and Curaleaf where we're buying a year's worth of supply just so no one else could get it. Wow. You know, trying to squeeze the market. It was insane.
Yeah, because I remember, man, it was like because when it passed, we're like, all right, cool. Like, it's going to happen. We're ready for it. And then all of a sudden it's just like, oh, it's happening in January. Cause I think I remember it was like supposed to happen like April of 2021. There was like word where it was just like, it wasn't supposed to happen in January. Like it wasn't.
No, it was.
I feel like
there was the way that they had the
I was
law
getting wrong
written.
information.
The way that they had the law written was there was different sections that we had to hit over different periods of time.
Okay.
Yeah. So sales started first of the year because it was voted in law. That always starts the new year, unless stated differently in the actual wording of the law. Like an immediate action will be an immediate action.
And that was part of their plan.
So yeah, no, they didn't have the product to even sustain anything. And now they've built out, this year alone, there was over 1 million square feet worth of canopy that was brought online. So like, I don't know if like in a 4x4 area under one light, you can get, 2 to 3 pounds if you're a really good grower,
Mm-hmm.
Think of that times like 1 million. Who's smoking all of this? So you've probably noticed in the dispensary, if you go to the dispensary, prices are dropping. There's BOGOs daily.
Mm-hmm.
People are struggling to keep their operations online because there's an abundance of weed. Again, this is kind of like what I watched through Oregon too. It's like, you can't overgrow your population. It just doesn't work.
Yeah. So when you saw that happening over here, it was almost just like, I've seen this before. Like,
oh,
this is
absolutely.
bad.
I called it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely called it. And it unfortunately came true.
Yeah, man. I mean, so because were you operating at that point as Solventless when it went recreational?
No, I think I started 8 months after rec hit.
Okay.
Yeah, so Solventless will be 2 years old in November.
Nice, dude. So you ended up getting a license you partnered with someone with a license?
Yeah, so I've gone through 8 different licensing deals before we even got to shelves.
Wow.
Different stories, different partnerships, different deals that fell through, different deals that were just shady to begin with.
And independent owners?
Yeah, we worked with dispensary owners. I was a part of a grow that we were building down in Casa Grande that ended up failing. That was a different deal. I had 3-4 different buildings that I went through, 5 different buildings that I went through. Yeah, so it was just like, it's a process, man. There's a lot of people that just want to take your money, and then like kick you out or try to keep your equipment, or that just like do shady business. So we went through 8 or 9 licenses before we were actually on shelves. And I've been with Nirvana now for the whole 2 years.
It's been a good experience.
Yeah, I've had to move buildings. I'll be on my 3rd move in like a month or 2.
Okay.
Because they're expanding their dispensary, so they're kicking me out of their dispensary to a different building, but still with them. But yeah, no, they've been really easy to work with, and which is weird because a lot of people have horror stories working with Nirvana. Funny enough, but I've got good relationships with a lot of people there. So
yeah, for sure. And I mean, maybe it's just because like you're like on a working relationship with them versus like the people that are just like on like a sales base, like customers. Are you saying like customers don't have good experiences, or like people in the industry?
No, so they have a few buildings that they like just specifically rent out space for manufacturing and kitchens. So if you have like a want to be in the industry, you can lease space in their licensed building, which then in turn makes you licensed. Obviously, it's going to be for a premium.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do that. So they've had quite a few companies that have come and gone under their licenses that way.
Yeah, it's cool that like that you've been able to like get it, like build a good relationship with them, like even though other people might not have like a good relationship or thought about Nirvana. It's just like, well, I don't care what you guys think, like they treat me well. So
yeah, no, 100%. I've got no tiff with them at all.
Hey man, shout out our friends at Nirvana Center.
Yes, sir.
So, we're talking a lot about cannabis concentrates and things like that in the industry, but what are the benefits of concentrates over flower, in your opinion?
Well, it depends on what kind of concentrate you're talking about. So if you go to my specialty, which is a solventless extract, there's going to be no solvent residuals. A BHO extraction or a solvent-based extraction, they're going to use chemicals, solvents to essentially dissolve the trichome head, extract the fats, oils, lipids, flavonoids, terpenoids, and cannabinoids from that trichome head and the solvent. That'll then run, get collected. They'll try to remove as much solvent as they possibly can on the initial draw, and then they'll go throw it in a vacuum oven where they're going to essentially warm the product to then in turn make the solvent evaporate. That vacuum will pull the solvent out, and they get a lot of it, most of it for sure, but there's always going to be some sort of residual.
Right.
It just is what it is. It might be on the billionth scale, but it is there.
Yeah.
Versus mine is just ice, water, heat, and pressure from the original extraction. So there's no chemicals, there's no remediating product. So like we were talking earlier, where you can take a BHO extract and you can start with moldy material and get a non-moldy ending material. You can't do that with a solventless extraction.
Right.
There's no chemicals to remediate with.
Right.
Nothing's going to kill that mold, so it's going to end mold. It's going to end mold.
Yeah.
So there's a requirement with my extraction where you have to start with a good material, otherwise it's going to show in that final product. With that, you're also going to be essentially having a healthier product. Obviously you're not supposed to inhale things,
Of course.
but you're going to have a healthier product than a solvent-based extract because there's no residuals. My extraction also doesn't remove some of the lipids and fats and terpenes and flavonoids and cannabinoids like a solvent-based extraction will. They run it through really, really, really fine filters when they're recovering their gases. And when they do that, there's some cannabinoids, flavonoids, fats, whatever, that don't go through that filter or whatever. So they actually remove some of the actual plant beneficials from their extracts. So you can usually taste a difference between the same batch extracted the two different ways.
Right. So I mean, so I guess like a overhead view though, comparing like solvent
versus flower.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Solvent,
so
solventless versus flower.
If you're going to go, we'll just go straight to solventless because I think that's the future.
Way,
that's a better way.
Yeah.
And the way that you guys should start smoking if you don't now. You're removing plant matter. So when you have plant matter, it's got no purpose. All that greenery, all the purple, all that shit that's not shiny and white, that's all essentially contamination in my eyes.
Okay.
It's carcinogenic. It produces 20 times more tar than tobacco does.
So when you smoke it,
so when you're smoking it, you're getting more tar in your lungs.
Right.
You're combusting.
Okay.
Combusting's not good.
Yep.
So you're inhaling smoke.
Right.
You're inhaling the carcinogens. When you have a solvent-based or solventless extraction, you're vaporizing. So you're not combusting anything. You're not smoking carcinogens. I mean, there's not nearly as many.
Right.
Not even close.
Yeah.
And then you're not having that tar buildup.
Interesting. And I think that's huge because over time, that's what builds up. And
definitely. I notice a major difference in lung function.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. So if like I almost exclusively smoke hash rosin.
Okay.
If I'm out and about and I'm with friends and they have some really good weed or like a donut or something rolled up, I'll smoke it. But I'll notice a difference in my lungs. It'll be tighter. It'll be harder to breathe. It'll be shorter breaths.
Right.
When I get to smoking hash rosin, I don't get any of that.
Yeah. That's interesting. That like people don't like to think about those types of things, but I think it's very important that you do.
Absolutely.
Because it's like
it's your
real.
Body. Like it's your lungs. You only get one set.
For sure. And it's like
you don't go sniffing, fucking gasoline because it's not good for your lungs. You should think of that in the same aspect of you're consuming things, man.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it's like people that smoke blunts every day, it's like it catches up.
Oh, absolutely.
For sure. And it's like something like when you're smoking good oils and you're doing it like not necessarily like overdoing it. If you're doing it on like a good, just casual basis, like I think that's the healthier alternative way to do things.
Absolutely.
So to kind of like go into what you were saying before, the solvent versus the solventless, I guess like what types of like solventless extraction are there? Is it just like the rosin press?
No,
Or like
so
what?
there's actually quite a few. You got, your obvious keef, that'll be a dry sift.
Okay.
You've got your dry sift hash. So they have really fine screens that are defined by lines per inch.
Okay.
And each line per inch gets smaller over time. So they create a micron size. Micron size is a unit of measurement. And essentially they're going to be removing contamination, plant matter, stock, stuff like that, just to get the trichome head on like a small molecular level, essentially.
Right. So that's like when it's like
So
when
that's
it's like different types of micron bags. Is that what that
well,
means
so
or whatever?
it's screens. So think of like
Screens.
screens on your window.
Yeah.
Essentially the same thing laid down. But they have different sizes of like the grid.
Okay.
So think of like the difference between like a chicken wire fence and like a chain link fence. You have the two different sizes of holes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that, but they just get gradually smaller and obviously nowhere near as large. We're trying to get trichome heads, not people's fists,
Yeah. So it's like millimeters difference between the different micron levels.
Even smaller than that. Like micron's much smaller than micron. Micron.
Is a micron a unit of like measurement?
It's
like
a unit of
millimeter?
measurement. Yeah.
Oh wow.
So
like,
it's smaller than nanometer, or no, it's bigger than nanometer, but smaller than millimeter.
damn.
Yeah.
That's like microscopic level. That's insane, dude.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah,
yeah.
like the smallest that I extract is 25 micron,
Okay.
and I'll press it through a 15 micron bag. When you're getting into BHO, they even get into smaller microns. So they don't use mesh screens. They use stainless steel discs with milled holes in different diameters. And those milled holes, I think, are like around anywhere from 0.5 of a micron to 2 microns for BHO.
Damn. And that's solvent
Solvent.
based.
Yes, solvent based.
So I guess let's talk about that a little bit, because solvent based is very dangerous if you do it wrong.
Oh yeah, you can blow yourself up.
Yeah,
You're working
for
with
sure.
highly flammable gases and high pressure vessels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So talk about the difference between an open loop system versus a closed loop system when making solvent based extractions.
No open loop systems you do not use anymore.
Well,
that was when people were taking fucking cans of butane from the smoke shop and they were blasting it through a tube. That's open loop. There's no recovery of gases. So it's essentially just off gassing into the air, into the atmosphere. So with a closed loop system, everything from start to finish is one big loop. It's a closed loop.
Yeah.
Think of like a NASCAR track. It goes from start to finish all in the same line.
And it's all contained.
It's all contained.
Yeah.
So there's no escape gases. They recover like 98% or something like that of all of the solvent gases before they even like release the product to go into the vacuum oven.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's much safer that way, but it's still dangerous if you don't tighten down a nozzle properly or there's a failed seal somewhere or something like that.
Yeah,
You can definitely blow yourself up. Like a lot of like in a commercial setting, they're working in C1D1s, which is essentially a bomb-proof shelter that has no spark materials, so no electrical that runs inside of it. They have massive off-gassing vents. So if you end up having a leak, it'll detect that leak, turn on a fan that essentially replaces the air in like a 2-second time frame.
Oh, wow.
From outside to inside and vice versa. So they can remove that gases so that doesn't have a chance to explode. But all of the like outlets you put like your wires through the wall, through a few different like rubber flaps, I want to call them. They're probably not called that, obviously, but essentially they're barriers from the electrical, and then you plug it in on the outside of the booth. So there's nothing inside that could spark and create an explosion unless like, you dropped a tool and hit metal and created a spark or something like that. So they try to be really, really safe. The city of Phoenix works with a few of the C1D1 extraction companies that I know. And they're super strict on all of that stuff.
For sure. So really it's like open loop system is only like back when we were talking, like when people were, like you're saying, blasting their own stuff in their
Yeah, people were being
backyard, you know,
idiots,
like
yeah.
trying to, you know, just make wax just because they
Don't
yeah.
do that.
No,
You can buy a close, like if you're gonna be an idiot and you want to do a butane or a solvent based extraction at home, like spend $1,000. There's used ones for like $500 out there nowadays. Like you can get like a quarter pound tube
Yeah,
closed loop system for pretty cheap. Like don't risk your life, please.
for sure. For sure. I mean, there's a reason why they take all those precautions
Yeah.
in the commercial level to like blast proof these rooms
Exactly.
because it's just
So,
like
it's just not
you
safe.
could literally die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, if you really want to do like extraction, solventless extraction, super easy. Like in the aspect that I'm just using ice water, heat and pressure, and micron specific screens to do my extraction process.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that like it's easy to produce a good product, but the process itself is really easy. Like if you want to get into extraction, flower rosin's the easiest. Start swishing nugs between your girlfriend's fucking hair straightener.
Yeah, dude.
You can buy, was it the nug smashers? I think they're like $300 or $400. Like
Classic.
it's not super expensive to get started if you want to do it safely.
Yeah, do it the right way.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the process that you're talking about with the ice baths, and I see you do that all the time, and it's like it's interesting because like you stir it and you can like you kind of like move it out of the way and you can like see things like really like swimming through it, and like what does that ice bath process do? Yeah.
So essentially, the only purpose of the ice is to keep it cold.
Okay.
That's its literal only purpose. So it's not necessary to the extraction process. If you have frozen water, and like not frozen water, but really cold water that it could freeze, like that's just fine. You don't need ice. So we can remove that if you want to. The water's purpose is to create vortexes, and essentially that will shear off the head of the trichome. So if you look at a trichome, essentially you're going to have a stalk, you're going to have a neck that connects the stalk to the head, and then you're going to have a bulbous spherical trichome head.
I'll put a picture right here.
Yeah, there you go. Right. And essentially, we're knocking the trichome head off of the stalk and the neck, and removing that completely. And we want to do that as gently as possible because we don't want to remove the stalk, obviously, because there's nothing in there. It's just a vessel to flow nutrients or cannabinoids or anything that the trichome needs. So it's not necessary to the extraction process.
Wow.
Considered contamination in my eyes. Same with plant material. Like I don't want to rough up the plant material and end up having really small microscopic specks of plant that end up in my final product that'll make it look gross, or it'll add a different flavor to it, or whatever I don't want it to do. So yeah, its purpose is to create the vortexes to rip off the heads, while also keeping the heads cold. So trichomes, there's 9 different types of trichomes. Only one of those trichomes has the proper type of structure between the neck and the stalk and the head to actually make it easy to remove, essentially. So that's something that you also have to kind of keep in mind if you want to get into solventless extraction, is like not all weed will wash.
What, like wash well or just wash at all? Like it won't.
Some won't wash at all. Like my lowest yield was 0.15%.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Off of like how many? Like
so off of 1,000 grams, I got so yeah, off of 100 grams, I would get 0.15 of a gram. So off of 1,000 grams, I would get 1.5 grams.
That's crazy. Dude.
Yeah, it's insane numbers. So like
that is crazy.
There's also a reason why solventless is an expensive product, because there's a lot of R&D. There's a lot of loss there. Like I've lost $9,000 in one run. It's not cheap to fuck up.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good point too. And like when you're doing it on that level, you can't fuck it up. Like you got to have your recipes down and your processes.
Even you can have your like if you go look at my numbers, bro, I'm really consistent with the stuff that I do, and you can have your processes down. And if you don't have a plant that has the correct type of trichome, you're still shit out of luck.
Yeah, it's not going to yield.
Yeah.
Damn, dude. So then, taking that material that you gain from the ice bath,
Mhm.
you strain that out.
Yeah, I strain that out through the micron specific bags.
Yep.
So I collect. I'm not going to give you like my recipe, but
Right, of
there's
course.
there's a range of microns that I'll collect that I view as ripe, good, proper size. They're going to give me good color. They're going to give me good flavor. The yield's going to be good because they're not underripe or overripe, and they think of like a cherry. If you go overripe, they'll start to shrink and like shrivel.
Yeah.
So you'll lose your yield there, but you'll still have like the skin that'll weigh.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's the micron sizes that I'll collect. Then I'll throw that in my freeze dryer. My freeze dryer will create sublimation. So essentially, I can remove water at like, I think it's like 10 degrees Fahrenheit, and it'll turn water from an ice to a gas without affecting the trichomes at all, because obviously I want them to be cold still. If they get hot, they'll pop, or whatever may happen, they'll grease and stick together, and it'll be hard to remove water from them at that point because they kind of become a coagulated substance. After the hash is dry, I'll put them in micron specific bags that are smaller than anything that I extracted,
Right.
Usually by an entire range. So if I pulled a 25 bag, like I said, I'm doing a 15 bag.
Right.
If I'm pulling a 45 micron, I'm doing like 37 micron or 25 micron to extract through, because what'll happen is I'm going to pop those trichome heads in that bag on a heated plate under pressure.
Okay.
And
that's when the press comes into play.
That's when the press comes into play. So it's a hydraulic press under pressure. You're going to...
Thanks, bro.
It's a hydraulic press that's heated, and then I'll put the bag on parchment paper in between the two plates. So they'll squish the bag, and what'll happen is the trichome heads will pop. The oils from inside that trichome will ooze out. That'll give you the rosin, is what we call it. Yeah, the golden waterfalls.
Yeah, we're gonna put that video right here. You have a lot of them that are so deliciously.
Yeah, they're fun to make. I love them. Yeah, so you're removing the cannabinoids, the flavonoids, the terpenes, all of that stuff, fats, lipids from inside the trichome membrane.
Yeah.
And then we're leaving that trichome membrane inside the bag. So that's why we still put it in a micron specific bag, is because I want to remove essentially the last of the contamination that's left, which would be the skins of the trichome.
Right.
So that bag will catch all of that, leaving us just with what we're looking for.
And that's the purpose of the smaller micron level.
Yes.
Man, dude, this is so sick. I'm learning so much right now. And it's cool because like I like how you said like I'm not going to give you the recipe, because like that's like those things right there, that's when the craft comes into play, where it's just like different companies can use different micron levels and have their
go play
prices.
around, you'll figure it out.
Exactly. You find what works for you. And also I'm sure like in your case, like like because do you use the exact same thing every time, or do you switch it up sometimes depending on what you're using?
Yeah, it depends. Well, yeah, it depends on what I'm using. Like if I'm going dried, cured material versus fresh frozen material,
right?
That'll definitely play a difference in what micron ranges I'm pulling. But I'm also, depending on what my end goal is with the product. Like if I want a full spectrum product, obviously I'm going to pull a wide range of things. If I want something that's going to be like exclusive, or like I want to pull a certain flavor profile out of the plant, I'll do a specific micron.
Wow, it gets down to that level.
Yeah, so
that's
like
crazy.
When I was telling you, you get overripe, it starts shrinking and shriveling. Essentially, you're losing different compounds in that trichome. So if it, more than likely, it's like terpenes off gassing,
right? And
then cannabinoids aging. So like your THC turn into CBN. Stuff like that.
Wow.
So the molecular weights of the cannabinoids and the internals of that trichome will change. With that, flavor will change. Like, if I have 1% of these terpenes, but this one only has 50% of this terpene or whatever of the original larger microns, you're going to notice a difference. So maybe if you're not experienced, but if you're super experienced and you're looking for it, yeah, you can definitely notice differences between smaller heads and larger heads.
Absolutely. And that's when it really starts to get into like the nitty gritty of like the craft, because it's like when you're doing things with intention to pull certain things out of it for like exclusive drops or like exclusive batches that are like, you know, high top level. I think that's when it really comes down to like that craft, and like those are the people that are at the top of their game know how to do it on that level. You know what I mean?
It takes a shit ton of R&D, man. Like,
For sure.
I work, like I said, Sunday to Sunday. So I'm always in the lab. We're doing different things in every single wash. I might have the same batch of one strain that I'm starting with, but I might wash it 4 different ways.
Wow.
Collect it 4 different ways to see which one works out the best, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah.
And then we'll throw that into being the actual production recipe. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. And that all of that stuff is why these products are so expensive.
Yep.
Everybody that's like is listening. And I mean, I'm sure anyone that's still listening right now, like they are interested in this conversation about like the process. And now you understand like why it costs what it costs, because of the amount of, you know, dedication and like specificity, like I don't know, like trying to be specific, whatever that word. Yeah, whatever the fuck that word is. Like of the process. Like it's very, very like.
Oh yeah, I have a crazy what is it, the QC process. Quality control. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah,
and, I've got a really wild one. So I go and walk grows.
Okay.
So I source all the material myself. I don't like have a team. I'm a one-man team. So I guess I should throw that out there. I do everything myself, from sourcing material to packaging, delivering, sales, all of it. So I'll go walk grows. I'll walk with the head grower. They'll show me all the rooms I want to see, the strains I want to see. They'll let me walk down the aisles so I can see the entirety of the grow. Like, you can have sections of the grow that have PM, you know, powdery mildew and stuff like that, that are failing or dying or whatever it may be, that look fine from the front of the room, but once you get into the nitty gritty, you see, you know, we got some issues. Maybe I don't want to use this material or whatever it may be. I'll talk with the head grower about their SOPs for their pest control.
Oh yeah.
I'll talk to them about their nutrients. Like there's certain nutrients I just won't even touch. They like, if you are experienced enough and you've smoked weed from different growers, each grow has a flavor.
For sure.
That like sits behind whatever the flavor of that strain is. And that's usually based on the nutrients. So there's nutrients that I won't touch. If you've got a weird, wacky, you know, IPM schedule where you're spraying in flower too late, or you're using, you know, pesticides or fungicides that like I don't agree with, or like the state might say okay, but like on a, you know, real personal level, when you look at what's in the ingredients, like some of these things can't combust.
For sure. What is IPM?
Integrated pest management.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's their SOPs that they follow to essentially prevent pests and mildews, molds to be in their facility. So they might not have a problem, but they'll still spray the pesticides to make sure that they don't get a problem.
Right. And SOP, standard of practices, guys.
Yes.
So yeah, man. I mean, it's interesting because like people that just are like casual smokers like would not think of these in-depth. You know what I mean?
No, the regulated market's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Like you can't even really compare it to the black market. You can on a quality scale, because there's a lot of white market that don't care about the quality, they care about the dollar.
Right.
Versus there's a lot of people on the black market that care about the quality. So I'm not going to say like there's not good out there. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying like the regulations that we go through on a legal scale, there's night and day comparison to what you get on the black market.
Absolutely.
At that point, you're hoping that the person you're getting your stuff from has morals.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure. Yeah, and I mean it's crazy because even people that are like regulated are still finding ways to kind of like
absolutely
shortcut,
like we were talking about the test results earlier. People are shady, you know. Be vigilant, but at least now we have paper trails.
Yeah, for sure.
You can figure it out if you really want to.
Exactly, and it's kind of like back to what we were saying, like with the public knowledge thing, like that whole like that's gonna change everything, and honestly might just like wash some people out. You know what I mean? Like people that are like that are, you know, that haven't been so honest, I guess.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of snakes in the grass for sure, but
yeah,
there's people out here that do it good too.
Yeah,
and a lot of the people that I work with, you know, I'll back them up all day long. You know?
Hell yeah, man. So bubble hash, what is that?
So it's ice water extracted hash.
So that's what we were talking
before
about.
we press it out on the hydraulic press, we leave it in its natural state, which is just a trichome head.
Okay. So that's when it's in like the dry when you put like 10 degrees Fahrenheit, like when you put it into that process, that's bubble hash at that point.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So the second that I take it from the water to the micron grains, it's going to be bubble hash.
Okay.
And then freezing and drying it would be just dried bubble hash. The reason that they call it bubble hash was when you get to like the later washes, the saponins and terpenes and trichome heads that have bursted and allowed the oils to escape will make the water foamy. So bubble hash.
It's bubbling.
Yeah, it's bubbling.
Wow. Okay.
And,
cool.
and they used to take it, and if you like smoked it, depending on like what form you're talking about, like if traditional hash, you can hold a lighter up to it and it'll bubble.
Okay.
Because it's melting.
Yeah.
So depending on which way you want to talk about it, that's why they call it bubble hash.
Yeah, because I feel like that term, I've heard it so many times, but I didn't really know what it was.
Just ice water extracted.
Okay.
Hash.
Yeah, it's some good stuff then probably. If it's ice water extracted, that's
you
like,
can get shitty ice water extracted.
yeah, so the person that's extracting it probably more so like
just starting material, like I said, fire in, fire out.
Yeah, that's right. You could be a great extractor and you got shitty product and it's gonna turn out crap. Wow, dude. Dang, dude.
And you can be a shitty extractor with great product and be a good extractor.
Yeah. Damn, dude.
There's people doing that too. You know, it's 2023. Everyone's a grower and extractor nowadays.
So with the rosin press to kind of like seal it up on the solventless process, the way that you can achieve the best results is finding what works best with the micron levels. That's basically the way that you get the best results.
Yeah, definitely. Like there's certain strains that'll have larger trichomes, so the main section of the yield will land in like in the 90, 120 range to 159. Some strains will be on the lower end, smaller trichomes, and they'll be in the 45 or the 70 U. So it's all genetic driven, man. It's really crazy when you get into it in the deep dive.
Yeah, and as you do it, I'm sure you start to learn like what's like without having to like do too much testing. It's like you can test like maybe 2-3
I
different
can go
things.
touch a plant and figure out if it will yield.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Just by looking at it.
I'm just touching it.
Just touching it?
Yeah, just touching it. So I can see if I go touch a plant and I rub my fingers on the nug and I got like a glove on, like a black glove, you'll see the trichome heads if they're stable and they have a thick enough shell, and they'll feel like sand between your fingers. You can play with them a little bit before they'll pop. Some strains, if you touch it, you look at your glove, there won't be anything on it but a wet puddle, and we'll call that a greasy strain. And that'll be usually like a strain that won't yield as high, but the terpene content's going to be really crazy. You might get some exotic flavors from it, but it also might not be worth even just going through the process because the yield will be so low.
Right. So you're going to spend a lot.
Yeah, I can touch a plant and essentially see that it'll yield or not.
This is a true professional here, guys. This is a true professional here, man. This is crazy. I mean, I didn't realize that once you do it so much, you could do, like without even having to run it through the process, you already know what it's gonna yield.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what it's gonna yield,
well,
but
like,
I can tell if it's gonna be even worth going into that direction of testing it out and washing it and putting it through the process. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, man. I mean, and
that and looking at the bud under a microscope, you can see the trichomes. Like I was talking about, the trichome head, it's got the stalk, the neck, and then the trichome
looks like
head.
a little mushroom.
Looks like a little mushroom, but you'll see like a weak spot between the stalk and the head.
Okay.
So it'll be a thinner neck than the actual stalk, so it's top heavy.
Wow, so it's easy to break off.
It's easy to break off when it's cold.
Starting Solventless, what were those early hurdles in the Arizona market that you needed to overcome when starting your company?
Licensing.
Yeah.
Money. So I'm a single operator. I got no investors, fully funded myself, took my life savings. Me and my girl were building a house down in Casa Grande when we were building out that grow that ended up failing. We pulled out, took all the money that we used to essentially start building the house, and we put it to the company and just ran with it. Here we are 2 years later. So yeah, I own everything outright, so that's a big plus. A lot of these companies, they'll go and take massive loans and they'll go on a massive scale, which is cool, like do your thing, but everyone else is on the race to the bottom and I'm sitting here coasting. So I'm good with it.
For sure. Yeah, and I mean those are going to be early hurdles for anyone trying to get into the legal space.
It's expensive,
It's
man.
expensive, and you got to find the right license. You got to find the right partner.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because although you run the business by yourself, you have people that you still need to be able to run the business. Well, like the licensing and like the locations. Like you still need to be able to like be in locations that you can sell things to. So it's like you still need to be able to like make those sales as well and make those connections in the industry.
Yeah, definitely. No, lots of networking, lots of no days off, no nights off, fucking scrolling through Instagram when I should be paying attention to my loved ones or whatever it may be. Just making connections was definitely kind of the building block that put me in the position to do what I do. I think if you just wanted to do what I did with what I had at the time, you'd fail.
Yeah.
If you didn't have the network.
For sure,
Yeah.
for sure. And also like the passion and confidence to keep going. I think that's something big with
I
you.
mean, I
you
don't,
know?
I wouldn't say the confidence, man. Like there's days where I'm like, fuck, man, this is too much. You know,
Yeah,
it is what it is. But that's, I think, just any entrepreneur,
for sure.
you know, there's going to be the days where you want to quit and it feels like too much.
Yeah, and then you have those days where you're like, "Damn, I am amazing. This is
Yeah,
so
we're
sick.
killing it. We're better than everyone. Fuck you guys. You know?
Yeah, dude.
You have the waves, you know, it's just life. you
That's
know?
totally true, man. Yeah. So you talk about being solo operating, and I think that's a very important part of this because it's very quality control because you're the only one touching the product. So
I'm scared to let other people touch it.
right, and that's something I want to talk about. Where it's just like the problem with like working in the cannabis industry is like a lot of people get into it to make money and they like don't really have like the passion for it. So it's like
or
finding
they think
someone
they're
that's
gonna be smoking all day long,
Right.
while they're on the job,
Right,
or
just high
it's
all
gonna
day.
be easy and
yeah.
laid back job where they're not gonna be working hard. No, I'm fucking busting my ass, man.
Exactly. So it's like trying to find people that are as passionate for your product as you
Absolutely.
are is
Yeah.
the hardest part.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I think eventually, you know, you like once
I'm
you
gonna have
scale
to
up,
grow
you're gonna
out of
have
it,
to, you know,
100%.
obviously delegate some tasks. But like once you find those people, it's gonna be like they need to be like 100% just follow exactly what you did
Yeah.
to AT.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
It's so tough to find those people, man. Even like people that do have the passion, like they just can't take the direction or they don't have the eye
Right.
for things. Like I'm super particular, man.
Yeah.
So it's tough to find that same kind of mentality for sure.
Yeah, I mean, but that's like the reason why you stand out so much is because it's not just like trying to get it out as fast as you can, trying to,
Oh, absolutely.
you know what I mean?
I mean, the one thing that I've said since I started the company was, you know, if I fail, I failed. At least I tried.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that, man. And that's like that's something that you know, a lot of entrepreneurs can take from that too, that, you know, if you don't start, you'll never know if
Yep.
it will.
You'll miss
work.
100% of the shots you don't take.
Wayne Gretzky. I think that was a Wayne Gretzky.
I have no idea, but it's something I live by.
Hell yeah. No, it's a very well-known quote and it's like
Yeah.
100% true.
Mhm.
It's you'll miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yep.
And it's like if you do take some shots, then you might realize what you're doing wrong and you fix your arm and
Yep.
you know what I mean? So, yeah, dude,
Learn from mistakes and just keep getting up.
exactly. And you've had a lot of I guess confidence boosts and recognition when you've taken your concentrates to different competitions around the United States.
Absolutely.
And you've won multiple awards for your concentrates,
Yep.
taken first, second, thirds in multiple different places.
Yep.
So it's like, is that part of the process very necessary to scaling a concentrate brand? Like, is that part of like the networking?
Yes. I wouldn't say it's necessary. I don't think, you know, like it puts a good view on your company. I think it's more for me, I get to go compare myself to the rest, see where I really stand in the ranks.
Yeah,
So it gives me more drive, I guess,
totally.
to keep going,
For sure.
and to continue to push to be better if I lose or whatever it may be, you know?
For sure, yeah, and that makes sense because it's almost like it gives you the, like I said, I guess the confidence to know like,
Exactly.
oh, this is the shit, and they think so too.
Yeah.
And it's like people
Well,
like,
these are my constituents, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
and my colleagues, and they voted me. Like, it's all blind stuff that we do. Like, I'm not going and putting my logo up and being like, oh, hey guys, come judge this competition.
right.
You know, let's win. You know,
Exactly.
I don't when I won third and second at the smoking jacket last year, the inaugural smoking jacket, I didn't know anyone. The only person I knew was the the dude that was hosting the competition. And that's only because he had a podcast that I followed, and he had a bunch of people that I respected on it.
Yeah.
So I joined his competition, and I totally expected to lose, bro. Like, I did not expect to place at all. I was just like, I want to meet these people. This is gonna be fun.
Yeah.
This is gonna be cool. And ended up placing, and that was really cool.
Yeah, dude. That's like, it's so rewarding leaving that, I'm sure. Like leaving that event, like, wow, like
Yeah, no, I
took a shot.
I beat people that I looked up to.
Yeah, dude.
It was cool.
That's sick, man. And it, like you said, it kind of like looks good on your company for like other people,
for sure.
like later on when they see like, oh, this is an award-winning concentrate.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm a small company. I'm a small batch. So like a lot of people haven't even heard of me.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm in a few dispensaries.
Yeah.
So like having that recognition, people like, oh no, this dude doesn't fuck around.
Yeah.
It's
But
really
the people
good for
that
us.
know about you, they like fuck with you.
Yeah,
Like, anybody that
absolutely.
knows about you fucks with you. And that's the cool part where it's just like, if they know about the product, then they care about good product.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, we're the most expensive gram in the state. I don't do sales on it because I can't afford to, unfortunately. But like my full belief is if you're going to get my product, you're going to spend your hard-earned cash, you should have a 10 out of 10 experience every time. So I try to make sure that happens.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess we're not selling anything on here, but where can they pick it up in the Valley?
In the Valley, you can get it at all the Jars, Debbie's, Mojave Cannabis Club locations, all the Health for Lives, True Bliss, Kind Meds, and Sticky Saguaro. And then down in Tucson, we are in Earth's Healing.
Nice, dude. That's a pretty good amount.
Yeah,
I mean,
we got a good spread.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got pretty much the whole Valley. I just don't have the north side, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Scottsdale, 2 places I'm not in. But I think Jars has a Cave Creek location that's close to Scottsdale. That'll be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're just kind of going around like the borders of the Valley.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't even done a sales run, like trying to get into new shops in probably almost a year. I just haven't had time.
Yeah.
Trying to do everything else by myself. So
Yeah.
I'd probably get kicking on that here soon.
Yeah. I mean, but you're too busy like honing in on the process and like figuring out like making the best product that you can.
Oh,
so that
absolutely.
by the time you go into these shops, it's just like,
Yeah.
already so much better than it was a year ago.
Yeah.
That's amazing, man. And it shows like just in these conversations that we're having, like how much passion you have in the product, man. And
Appreciate it.
of course, man, no, it's something that I'm sure a lot of people can see that when they just talk to you about it.
Oh, for sure. I'll talk about weed all day long.
I love it, dude. So we briefly talked about this earlier. I don't know if it was on when we were on tape, but smoking hash and smoking oils the wrong way, and high temperature versus low temperature, like titanium versus glass, things like that.
Yeah.
So what is the best way to do it?
I think that's all up to opinion, honestly.
Okay.
My eyes, my favorite way to smoke is a terp slurper.
What is that?
A terp slurper is a type of quartz nail that was designed by what the fuck is it? Toro Glass.
Okay.
Yeah, Toro Glass
Is that local?
No, they're out of either NorCal or Oregon, I believe.
Oh, okay.
But they make quartz and nails, slurpers, blenders. They're all different types of styles of nails, essentially. And then they make like rigs and bongs and stuff too.
Okay.
I think they started with rigs and bongs and then moved to the quartz.
So using the quartz and then doing you heat it up first, and do you get it up to a certain temperature? Do you check it, or like do you know like what
I have a IR reader that's 3D printed by some dude that like designed it to read nails, essentially. So it'll bring the IR reader up to essentially the edge of the glass or the quartz, and it'll read it directly off of that quartz, and it'll tell you what temperature you're at.
What is IR?
IR, I don't even know, but it's think of those like little handheld temperature guns where like you read like
like
distances.
like a laser.
Yeah, with the lasers.
Oh,
yeah.
hell
So, so those are called IR readers. I don't know what it stands for, but they're infrared. I think it's infrared. Yeah, infrared.
That probably
makes
makes
stupid.
Hey man, You smoked a little hash before this.
It is what it is. We got there. You're joining the journey with us.
So, what is the temperature that you're looking for then?
So on my slurper, I like to go in at about 515 to 530
Okay.
degrees Fahrenheit
When you drop it in.
when I drop my dab in. Obviously, there's also different things that'll play into that, like the size of the dab.
Mm-hmm.
If you go in too small, that might be too hot.
Okay.
I take a larger size dab. So the dab, think of like pouring water on a hot pan or something like that. You're super cooling the pan really fast because the product you're putting on it is colder and is absorbing the heat from the nail. So if I take a hotter dab with a larger dab with a little warmer nail, it's going to melt really fast and it's going to super cool that nail. So if you take in too small of a dab on a warm nail, there's not going to be enough surface area that dab covers to actually cool the nail.
Yeah.
So you'll get like a
burn up.
hotter experience. So make sure like your dab to fucking temperature ratio is proper.
Yeah.
That's super important. But yeah, just learn your nail. You'll go through some trials and tribulations, but anywhere from like 480 to like 530 is a good range.
Absolutely. And any layman people that don't know what talk about when he says nail, like it's not like a hammer nail, it's actual like that part.
That guy.
And
You heat that with a torch,
yes.
and then you can read the temperature from there.
Yeah, man. And that's where people back in the days where we were kind of talking about like the red hot, like that
red hot
whole
nails
shit.
because it'll glow.
Red hot nails.
Yeah,
and
red hot.
that was like back in the day. I remember we had a homie that he would take like so many red hot dabs that the nail was just black,
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
caked.
get black. Sometimes it'll catch fire.
Yeah, literally, like,
Yeah,
bro, like
it wasn't good for you.
like
man. It
just
was
heating up the
really,
nail, and
really
the
hot
shit
air.
catches fire, just blow it out real quick, throw the dab. It's like, why did you just smoke that?
Yeah, no,
Yeah, and,
uneducated times.
yeah, and people like, and something that's real that I've actually, I didn't realize this in the past, but people like burn the inside of their
Yeah,
lungs
Was it
because
the capillaries. in
yeah,
your lungs?
exactly.
Yeah.
They burn those capillaries. They literally singe them
Mhm.
when they smoke
Little
too
hairs.
hot. Yeah, it's interesting that like people don't even like think about that type of stuff. They just like want to get high. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? And
yeah.
that's like
We're
you're-
past that. It's 2023, guys.
yeah. Yes. Like we said earlier, be conscious about your smoking just as
Yeah.
like as you are with your health. You know what I
only
mean?
Get
Like
one lung.
yeah.
One set of lungs. You can't fucking get new lungs, man.
That's a good
Especially like if you are a smoker, man, that like immediately kicks you off the fucking list. Like,
Yeah.
You're not gonna get a new like. Take care of yourself, man.
for
Be
sure.
responsible.
Yeah, especially anyone that's still young listening to this stuff, because it's like as you get older, it's going to be harder for you to recover.
Yeah.
So you could do some damage that's irreparable.
You don't even know it until 20 years down the lane.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's hard to trace back to because you already done the damage.
Yep.
We kind of dabbled on this, but just like the importance of knowing where your product is coming from.
So absolutely get to know your farmer, get to know your extractor.
Yeah, like if you're
Absolutely.
smoking concentrates,
Yeah. Like if you reach out to me, I run my Instagram. Obviously, I'm a one-man team, so you're going to be talking with the person that makes your product. You know?
yeah.
So get into hold of your companies. Like you'll have reps that might not be the extractor, but they can answer whatever questions you might be having about the processes and stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. So if there's something
A lot
that
of
you
these
find you
companies are-
like,
Trying to be, transparent in some way aspect.
absolutely, like because I'm sure a lot of people have questions that that they just don't know where to start. Especially, I think older people that like aren't
Google's also your friend.
for sure. Yeah, very
don't,
much.
Don't hit me up with stupid questions. Not that they're stupid, but like if you can do a Google search and like figure it out yourself, please do that
Yeah.
first. I'm busy.
Don't ask me a question you can answer yourself, please. Very good point. Very good point. So one last thing I want to get into, man. You recently became a dad for the very first time.
Yep.
Congratulations,
Thank
by
you.
the way, man.
Thank you.
Of
Appreciate
course. Shout out Cammy.
Cammy.
Yes, dude. Cammy gave me a job at the Good Dispensary.
Mhm.
So thank you, Cammy. That's how I met Alex. So
Yes.
yeah, it's beautiful, full circle. But
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
what I wanted to talk about is when you found out that you were going to have a daughter,
Mhm.
did that light a fire under you to scale the company faster?
No.
I didn't.
No, I mean, like I want to say yes, but there's only so much that I can do
Yeah.
at this point, and money is my big bottleneck.
Yeah.
So it just is what it is.
Yeah, for sure. Because I know, obviously, having a kid comes with a lot of phantom costs. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
Yeah, absolutely.
it's like things that you wouldn't think about until you actually have the kid.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that that's probably put some pressure on you as a business owner,
Oh, for sure.
especially being a solo entrepreneur.
Yeah, making sure sales still come in, but
Yeah.
no, there's not really too much I can do about scaling until I just keep saving money to do so.
And that's also the beauty of like having a partner that's willing to be a partner in this business with you.
I wouldn't
like,
be around if it wasn't for Cammie.
Yeah,
for sure.
for sure.
Solventless would have failed.
Yeah, man. No, it's a beautiful
she's the
company.
glue.
Yeah, for sure, man. You guys work well together, and you've been working together since the Good Dispensary. So it's like you guys have had this connection for a long time.
Yep.
So it's beautiful to see you guys scale it into what it is today.
Appreciate it.
Of course, man. And I guess something I didn't talk about so you have Solventless Refinery, and then you also started Solvent Refinery as well, and that's just your solvent extractions.
Yeah, solvent-based extraction. So again, solventless is not like, it's a niche market. So you know, we're expensive. Not everyone can afford to have us. Not everyone cares to have us. You know, like some people, like you said, just want to buy the $5-10 thing and get on with their day and just get high. But if you're looking for experience, if you're looking for terpenes, think of it like we were talking about earlier off air, was wines and stuff like that. Like, you know, you got your wines, you got your small batch beers, you got your small batch, you know, bourbons and spirits and things like that. Like, you're going to spend more because of that experience and the flavors and the things that you're going to get out of that product versus just, I got high. You know, getting high. There's so much to getting high.
So the Solvent Refinery is more for the
BHO,
average user.
Yeah. So like we couldn't keep going just on a solventless based extraction company. The bills were high.
Right.
Product wasn't moving fast, obviously, because it's expensive. So started Solvent Refinery, and that's our butane extraction. It's mostly the same material from the same farms that we work with on the solventless basis. It's just all of their stuff that doesn't yield in a solventless. So instead of them losing money, us losing money, we figured out a way to, you know, do a butane extraction, sell that, kind of keep the money flowing that way.
Yeah.
I also am coming out with an edible line called Sugar Refinery. That'll be dropping in the next month or two, hopefully. I'm not going to say what it is, but it's baked goods, solventless.
Okay.
Solventless baked goods. They're vegan, dairy-free, gluten-free, all the frees, but they're really, really good.
All the frees.
They're really,
Except for the
really,
cost.
really good. Super addicting, 10 milligram, you know, like bite-sized
Amazing.
baked goods. It's going to be really cool. It'll be the first of its kind in Arizona, so
Dude,
I'm excited about it.
especially because you're using the solventless product.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be cool. Like,
Yeah,
it's going to be some potent stuff.
My food grade rosin isn't like boo-boo. I shared the test results. It's got like 7% terpenes and like, you know, super potent, delicious. It looks good. It pairs really well with the baked good. You know, you can taste it a little bit. So it's really cool.
Hell yeah.
Super
man.
excited about that. So keep an eye out. Sugar Refinery here in next month or two.
Absolutely. No, this has been a great interview, man. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this.
Thank you for having me.
Martians, go follow this man at Solventless Refinery on
Solventless
Instagram.
Refinery.
And then follow Solvent Refinery. Just follow them all over the place. And do you have a website as well that you?
I do not have a website.
Okay. So right now, just go to socials, hit him up. If you have any questions, hit him up. Like his videos, all that stuff. Check him out in the Valley. If you do live in Arizona, if you live in Phoenix, you know, go to those places that he named.
Even if you visit.
If you visit, it's a recreational place. Go check it out. Go check him out. But yeah, man, thank you again for coming, man.
Thank you.
Martians, go follow me at On Mars Pod, and we'll see you next time. Love you guys. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in and watching this episode of the On Mars Pod, and for sticking around to the end, man. I really appreciate you guys. You are the real Martians. Like this video, comment below what your favorite part was, what was most inspiring to you. Subscribe to the channel, hit that bell for notifications here on future interviews coming out soon, and also follow us on Instagram at On Mars Pod. Love you guys so much. We will see you next time on Mars. You're a little soft-spoken. You know?
I am. I
But it's
don't
okay.
have a loud voice at all.
It's okay. That's fine. That's why we have volume knobs.
Yes, sir.